Chafing Armor Podcast, episode 145, Breaking Free. Welcome back to the Chafing Armor Podcast. I'm your host and lovable Dungeon Master, Michael Corley, and with me tonight is Lee. Lee, tell everyone who you will be playing.
G'day everybody, my name is Lee, and I will be playing Distant Bells, the Kenku Kenku Rogue, who is just now kind of realizing that his beloved weapons are not as safe as he once thought they were.
We'll see if any of those rusting monsters show up and just how dangerous they might be. When we last left Distant Bells, he had escaped a watery doom by accidentally activating his Cloak of Stars, which among having some cool stars that he can throw like ninja stars, it also will transport you to the astral plane. However, you found a very different place than the astral plane. Of course, Bells has never been to the astral plane and has no idea what the astral plane is like, but you found a shattered version of Zental Keep, which had recently been destroyed by foul magics. After escaping, you defeated a mutated rust monster with the help of a young man with long dark hair, wearing red armor, who identified himself as Rainbow Boy. He is cradling in his arms a Cerebro-like helmet, and you helped him escape the notice of a small group of Githyanki warriors who were clad in silver armor and wielding silver swords, and most importantly, their eyes were glowing a baleful blue. And that is where we left off. When we come back, he has asked you to help him rescue his longtime friend, Bubbles. And he reaches up with his hand, and you see him strain, and like it's hard for him. But then he kind of opens his hand, and below his hand, above his hand, appears a ship. And not a large ship, but even you, who generally dislikes magic, there's just something so appealing about this ship. It feels like home. It feels like something out of the stories that your mother, is it Scribbling Quill? Scratching Quill. That Scratching Quill used to tell you when you were little. It has that fairy tale like feel to it. And he says, "This is the Lelante, and Bubbles and I used it to travel all through the astral plane, exploring, making new friends, and having a wonderful time. Recently, well, I don't really know how long ago, but recently we encountered some strange individuals, and they helped us help the Githyanki, and they were able to secure a new stronghold for themselves. And we were coming to visit them when something suddenly went wrong. Suddenly, we were being pulled towards their stronghold, even though that shouldn't happen. And we crashed in to the stronghold. I was thrown, and the Lelante was destroyed. And all I had left was the helmet, which helps me control the Lelante, and it also augments my natural powers. But something is wrong. My powers are draining away, even as we speak. And even as I was thrown from it, I could see figures taking Bubbles away and taking her further into the stronghold of the Githyanki. And that is where we need to go if we are to save her."
Bells kind of blinks, like confused almost. He's quite confused about all this. It's just kind of, that's a lot. Okay. He puts two and two together. It's like, so this is the astral plane then? Because it looks a lot like Zental Keep.
I do not know what Zental Keep is, but this is the astral plane, but everything is wrong now. The ship suddenly stopped flying, and it's like a great weight is trying to crush me.
That word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
And he actually kind of like pushes himself up on his tippy toes, like as if he's trying to fly away, and nothing happens. And then he kind of slumps back to the ground and kind of wobbles unsteadily.
Well, Bells will just kind of incline his head and let's go then. I mean, sneaking into a stronghold isn't normally something I would do, but I do have skills, and it's just the two of us, so we should have some luck. And even if it's just me, I will do my best.
I certainly will come with you, and I hopefully I can still help while my abilities last. And as he says that, suddenly just there's like a feeling of dread that just stills over you, and suddenly you are plunged into darkness. And you of course are completely can't see now, right?
Well, I don't know how it works in the astral plane, but in the material plane, Bells can see in the dark.
Yes, that's what I was joking, is that you in fact have dark vision, do you not, as a Kinku?
Yes. Kenku, people will be questioning Asmo's like, let's get this out of the way now. Kenku don't have dark vision. Bells does, but it's always been a part of him, so he doesn't question it. But for the most part, to him, being able to see in the dark is just normal, but most Kenku, or in fact all Kenku, normally can't. So we'll take that under advisement, basically. But yeah, Bells can see in the dark.
And the darkness literally is like an eclipse. Something is blotting out this weird ethereal light that is slowly stealing over the astral plane. And you can see that it's something coming from above, and you look up, and for a moment you can't. It's so big that your mind does not compute. But you slowly make out this crab-like, slug-like creature with an enormous central eye and a giant maw as it slowly floats overhead, and it starts to descend towards you, and then there's like this boom. There's this magical hum, and it's slightly repelled, and there seems to be like an agitation to it, but it continues to float onward. But the funny thing is, it's so big, like you're going to be in the dark for a while because it's so big, and it's just blotting out the strange astral light that is coming in.
Oh my god.
And like it's just everything here is so alien.
Yeah.
And that is in this darkness, something appears in front of both of you. And it is really hard to make out because it is literally darkness. It is a shape that is constantly shifting, constantly moving. And if you wanted to give it a name, it vaguely looks like a sort of a somewhere between like a centaur and a tiger. But it's like just constantly shifting. But there's a vague like four-legged yet somehow humanoidness to it, and it's shifting and riling. And It's right in front of you.
Instinctively, Bells kind of positions himself between between the shadowy thing and Rainbow Boy, because
Okay.
I mean it's just what he does, you know. He doesn't know why he did it, honestly. It's just for some reason he just kind of, I mean, he's normally the one who's out in front and gets behind everything, but for some reason he's got it in his head to get between. Like, he's just kind of, you have to get through me first. There's something in the back of his head just like, you don't do this. This isn't your job. That's what Tix does. That's what Morezi does. It's not you. But also, like, there's nobody else here, so I guess this is my job.
You hear a voice in your head, and you have encountered evil before. Several times, in fact. But this evil is chaos. This evil is madness. And it's just stabbing through your brain. And it says, "Distant bells. Do you want to know the worst part? Do you want to know the most terrible part? It's not." By the way, all of this happens in an instant. Everything I'm about to say instantaneously is transmitted to your brain. It's not that I could rip you back just to inch you forward a little so that both of those precious daggers were lost to the creature. I could do that right now, and you would be powerless to stop me. It would happen because it would have already happened, because it has always happened. Or I could reach forward and I could draw out the last few drops of your pitiful lifespan as a Kinku. 10 years? 20 more years? What do you have? I would take it all from you and leave you a shriveled, aged husk. But no. That's not the worst part. The worst part is I'm going to kill you right now. You're going to die, and there is nothing you can do about it, and there is no one who can help you. And as you die, know that this poor child will die because you weren't there to help him. And suddenly, time flows through your body and is ripping out. And then it stops. And there's like a, that's weird. Your soul locked. How curious. Your soul locked. Well, in that case, and it is as if two hands from the top and the bottom just crush your body. And for that moment, you feel what it must be like to truly fight like a god-like creature. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can try. And yet, it's D&D. So I would like you to give me a willpower saving throw. And let me know what you get.
Come on, dude, why?
You got a 2?
No, let me...
Oh.
Ha! I got a 1.
A 1? A 1? That's
Yep.
amazing. That's amazing.
You bastard dice.
They have betrayed you. They have betrayed you.
Their sense of comic timing is immense.
My God.
Remember when Osakai was falling down the cliff and he kept rolling ones?
Yep.
Like, oh.
So it is as if.
Do I need to roll a percentage, by the way?
No, because that's only when you attack. That's only for attack rolls. You know, I do take natural ones into account, but that particular rule is just for attacks.
Okay.
So you have felt a lot of pain in your life, both your upbringing and the cruel ministrations of Zerul, the wizard, and even the shackle itself on your left ankle, you know, slowly biting into your flesh as you grew older, and not to mention the pain of losing your loved ones, of losing Scenarial, and of course the physical pain of getting stabbed a lot by living in a place. But you've never felt anything like this. It is like something is just collapsing your head downwards and crushing your legs upwards. Like, imagine if something literally could just grab both of your legs and shove them up into your body. The pain is undescribable, inescapable. And then in a moment, it is over. And you look up at this scintillating creature, and it just laughs. And then it is gone. And Rainbow Boy is crawling towards you. He's weeping openly. Pain is racking through his body, but you don't think that he was attacked directly. You think that it might, kind of like with his blast, this is just like a offwash of whatever happened to you. And he is coming towards you, and you realize that Rainbow Boy is gigantic. He has grown many times his height in a few seconds.
I'm not sure I can do anything. That's terrifying. I guess the first thing you would kind of do was just like kind of try and move, like limbs, body parts, like.
So there is a moment when you think that you can't move, like nothing works. You cannot move. You think, oh no, I am paralyzed. Like, this thing has left me alive, but completely paralyzed, because you can't breathe, and you're not breathing, and then you realize you're not breathing. Like, you are just not breathing, and yet you are still existing. You are not that feeling of your lungs slowly filling with pain is not happening. You are just not breathing. And then you try, and you can slowly lift one arm up slightly. And your arm has been transformed. So you remember stealing something for Scenario. Or no, actually, I take that back. Let me be more direct, better direct reference. You remember the owlbear toy that Pet had, and I think you even retrieved its head at one point. Your feathers have fused to your skin, and your skin has taken on the plush sheen of that owlbear. It is no longer flesh. It is a material. You have been transformed. You have been transfigured. You are no longer a humanoid.
He's so fluffy! He's so fluffy, I'm gonna die!
Oh. Fun! Can I move like yet? Can I like?
At first, again, you can't. But then you start like, and your legs are much shorter, like even proportionate to where they were before. Like they're just sticking out a little bit from your body, and your body seems like somehow rounder and more rotund. But as you're feeling this body, you kind of wobble for a few steps, and then. At the Yi Chicken, some of the glass pane has crashed to the ground, and you can see shadowy as the last of this creature flying overhead begins to finally pass, and light begins to come back. I want you to imagine, Lee. I want you to imagine an adorable plush Kinku. That is what you are now. You are now a plush Kinku.
I am a toy. Oh no!
You are a toy. And you have assumed plushy form. You now do not breathe. You are immune to poisons and toxins. You have a +2 to stealth rolls. You also have some minuses and some advantages and vulnerabilities that you will get into later. Your items are all still there, but they are scaled down. Like, even your daggers are still there, but they have been scaled down.
Are they all plush versions too, or?
They are not. Now, some things are more plush, like your backpack is plush, but things that are metal are still metal, but they are all reduced. You are about 1.5 feet tall. Yeah, you're about 18 inches tall. You are
I'm
very
classed as
small.
tiny.
And Rainbow Boy is crawling towards you, and he goes, Are you you?
Wow. Now I've just got this idea that Bells' voice now sounds like those voice box modules inside Dice. With a really cheap, horrible speaker.
Yeah. Let's say that is so.
He'll just kind of... is the neck jointed, or is it a full, like, single thing, and I have to turn my whole body to look at this?
You are a plushie, like, you really are a plushie, but kind of like a Chucky doll kind of way, you are able to manipulate this body far more than a plushie doll would. Okay. So you are able to rotate your head, you're able to move your arms. You do have fingers, but they're, like, extremely stubby. And yet you don't really feel like your dexterity has been affected at this time. But obviously this is all very, very strange to you, to say the very least. And of course, it's taking a lot longer to get to places as you walk with your stubby little legs.
Oh, wow, okay. Bells will just kind of go, I'm a toy?
It appears to be the case. That creature is a creature of pure chaos, and I do not understand how you live still. I do not understand the ramifications of soul locked. That is completely unknown to me. But whatever it is, it seems to have protected you. Sort of?
Bells will draw his daggers and just kind of start moving around, just trying to figure out the extent of his movement, his abilities in this form. And he'll give one of the daggers a toss and then see if it comes back.
It does. After you toss it, it sticks into a hunk of wood nearby, and then you bring it back, and it comes back to you. Your items seem to be functioning more or less as they should. You don't know if there's anything else that's going on.
He'll sling his backpack off and just kind of look at it, and like, because that's been plushified too, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, your backpack is plush now.
He gives it a stroke, and does it function the way it should? Like,
it does. The eyes open, the tongue kind of lolls out, it opens up, and your items are inside. Anything that is metal is still metal. Anything that is not metal Like I don't know, like if you keep that book that Baba Yaga you copied from Baba Yaga in there, but if you do, it is a plushy book. It is just like a little tiny toy. It's not usable.
So, okay, yep. So that would mean my oil is no longer usable.
Correct.
My chalk, my caltrops would be.
Yep.
My grappling hook, no, maybe.
Your grappling hook is still a grappling hook, but the rope is made out of yarn now. That's pretty strong yarn. It might hold you, but you don't know.
Oh no, the eggs.
The eggs are plush. You have no idea if they are still effective or not. You have literally no idea.
My soap, my torches, my water skin. Not that I need to
They're
drink.
all. Just imagine a dollhouse.
No.
Imagine a dollhouse, but with those little tiny toys, but it's all plush. Like almost.
What about the mirror?
I will say that the mirror is still a mirror.
Okay.
It's just that the back is like a soft felt.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much. Wow. That's.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's a. Oh no, I've got plush vampire teeth.
You do. But everything that's metal is still metal. That includes your weapons. That includes the clasps. That make up your armor. Like the parts where they buckle. And also your shackle on your that's welded into your plush leg. You are adorable. Even your eyes are oversized, for proportionally to this body. But
if any Etsy artist wants to, make this a reality.
Yep, we're willing to cut a deal with you if you want to crochet this or bring this to life. We're talking right to you.
Belle's portrait is up on the wiki and the website, so
up to it. We would love to see it. That would be the best fan art you could possibly do.
It would be fantastic. Other than that, Belle's are just kind of like he doesn't need to breathe, but he's fine. It's just kind of he'll just kind of lock this away, I guess, and it's just like, well, this will be easier to get into that stronghold. You may have to carry me.
I will be happy to do so. And he thinks about it for a moment. He takes like the bottom of his shirt and he kind of rips it, and he makes like a very simple sling that he runs. There's a few like ring-like structures on the Cerebro-looking helmet, and he straps that onto his back so he doesn't have to hold it. And then he picks you up. And you weigh like a few pounds because you're plush, and you
Bells will kind of, stand on his arm, and just kind of run up to his shoulder and just kind of hang off that like he would with Audrey almost. Just kind of.
Yeah. Your dexterity does not appear to be affected. You are just as nimble as you were before, perhaps even more so in some ways. And he says, let us do it. Perhaps we can find a way to reverse this in the same fashion. Bubbles is a very powerful spellcaster, and perhaps if we can find the Lelante, we can do something to help you. I promise I will try to help.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But for now,
and I'm so sorry.
Let's go.
What is your name again?
The sound of distant bells.
Ah, yes.
It echoes through.
He immediately, there's no hesitation whatsoever. He goes, distant bells. Thank you so much for all of your help. We should head this way towards the stronghold of the Githyanki, and we will see if we can find a way in. And he begins to he does this really wobbly walk, as if he doesn't quite know how to walk. But he's getting better quickly as he goes. And
I've just suddenly got this image in my mind now of plushy bells climbing on top of Rainbow Boy's head and just ratatouilleing him.
there you go, pulling on the hair, and he's just a going.
Blink.
You make your way for quite a little while, and very quickly as you go, the Zintel Keep area falls away, and as you go, like the flagstones become more and more broken, and there's just this dark kind of slightly giving material underneath. It's very tough. It's not like it's going to break, but it's there is a give to it that is unpleasant, that you felt when you were of course you're riding on top of him, but you can feel his body kind of like sinking into it a little bit as he goes. And that's when you come over the plain, and one of the slightly brighter, it's not a star, but just whatever it is, glowing in the sky, gives a little bit more illumination. And there's a moment when you see where you are, and you realize that you are on an enormous corpse, just of unimaginable size. And
lovely.
Yes, as if things couldn't get any stranger, you are standing on a corpse. And it's only because you are angled slightly upwards, you can make out the slowly drifting legs extending out nearly to infinity. You realize technically you are standing on the butt. And you look back the other way, and you can kind of just barely make out this massive arm floating in the ether sea of the astral plane. But it is bizarre that you are standing on this body. That it just defies description in your mind. And he says the astral dreadnought has not been able to approach. Because of our help and the help of our friends, we were able to establish a stronghold here for the Githyanki, where they were able to repel the advances of the astral dreadnought and some of the Burbalangs and other creatures that would wish to feed on this corpse. But we had simply returning as a courtesy to check on them, and that's when all of this happened. It was most unpleasant. I certainly hope that we could find the bubbles and find the Lelante.
Yes. Bells kind of makes a mental note that he's probably okay with not needing to breathe, because I can imagine that now the smell, the concept of a smell of a infinite corpse, is probably not amazing. So let's move on, shall we? The sooner we find all these things and get your friend out, the more you can move on, and hopefully we can sort out why these Githyanki have turned on you for some reason. Their eyes don't normally glow that color, right?
You are most correct. Very perceptive. That is entirely due. The Githyanki, while naturally psychic and somewhat magical beings, their eyes do not glow, and certainly do not glow a baleful blue. And I suspect that is related to their whatever this is.
Well, onward, trusty steed.
You make your way onward. I would like you to just roll a straight 1d20 for me.
Okie dokie. Oh, lovely. That's a 2.
2. Well, as they say, at least it wasn't a 1. So, I need you to also make a spot check for me.
Okie dokie. That's better. 27.
27. So, you look ahead, and you can start to see the outline of a settlement ahead, and it is built of just the strangest mishmash of materials. Just imagine everything that could possibly make a structure. You get the feeling that this is like temporary, that this structure is not meant to be the final thing, and you even see like the building of a more permanent structure like beginning to form around it, but then it's halted. But this structure is made from, parts of a ship mast and parts of a cart and parts of driftwood and just everything that may have at one time made its way into the astral plane. And it's off, several miles from you from here. But you could see it is very strange in the astral plane, like how well you can see things off in the distance. There is something else in front of you. You can see a platoon, so probably not the same, just based on what you'd seen before. You think maybe there's more of them, of Githyanki soldiers, and they are walking not towards you. They're actually walking like perpendicular to you.
Yep.
But here's the problem. There really isn't very much to hide here. So you need to decide, what are you going to do to avoid detection? Because they are definitely going to see you soon. And there are over 30 of these Githyanki marching.
Yeah, I will quickly ask Rainbow Boy, how good are you at acting?
I am a tremendous actor, I think.
How would you feel about acting like you are 4 and play with me as if I were a real toy? Pretend you are touched.
Oh.
Perhaps they will move on.
Yes. I think that we could do that, and it should not be too difficult. Let me see what we can do. And so, I'm going to need you to give me a performance roll, because you need to be a plush toy.
Yes.
Now, Rainbow...
I actually... Oh!
But you do get a +2.
Cool. That brings me up to a 22.
22?
I have an 18. I rolled an 18. I have a 2 in perform, so it brings me to a nice round 22.
So,
Whew.
Rainbow Boy slips off the helmet from his back, puts it on his head, and then there is a whoom, and then suddenly a 4-year-old lad is standing before you, and he picks you up and begins to go, "I have the best kinku in the world. His name is Noobly Nose. Noobly Nose. Who knows? Noobly Nose." He rolled very well on his acting, his performance, and this troop stop, and their eyes are all glowing a baleful blue, and they go, "Who are you?" And for some reason, you can understand it this time. You don't know why. And he says, "I've got my kinku, and his name is Noobly Nose, Noobly Nose." And he bounces you around, and he throws you up into the air. And you wonder for a moment, like, if your pack's going to come open, but it doesn't. And he catches you and holds you up to the nearest Githyanki, who leans in. And he suddenly, shing, pulls out his silver sword, and he holds it to your neck. And he goes, "Should I deprive your little friend of his head?" And he goes, "No, not Noobly Nose." And he goes, Yeah. And the silver sword, like just slightly bites into your skin, and it feels so cold. This is not normal metal. Then he takes it away and shifts it, and he goes, "Come on! We don't have time to waste with this thing." And they begin marching forward. And you have successfully succeeded, both of you, in fooling this patrol. Very good job.
As the last one kind of vanishes over the out of sight, just kind of lean my head back up and look up and go, "Really? Noobly nose?"
Well, you do have a very cute nose. And he reaches forward to the non-existent helmet, and as he pulls, it appears, and he resumes his young man appearance. And you can go forward. You can make your way towards the structure. You are able to find, as you get closer to the structure, there are more things, and you can feel the gravity is like a little more wonky here, like a little more light, but still it is absolutely working on you. You know, of course, again, Distant Bells has no idea that this is not how the astral plane normally works. But you can feel when it's not working like the way it does on the material plane, and it's like you think that like if you jumped right now, you would probably jump higher, is mostly what you're thinking. And you can see the structure up ahead. It is a circle, just a very simple circle structure. There is sort of a small, like 3-story tower in the center, and there's a main gate, and there's quite a bit of activity as various Githyanki come in and out of the structure. There are no flying creatures. There's nothing flying around here the way, like, say, normally it would work in the astral plane. What would you like to do?
Can we see where the Lalante crashed? Since he did say it was pulled into the stronghold and crashed in, so...
Give me a spot check.
Okie dokie. Nope, never mind. That's a 10.
A 10? So you cannot see... you did see what the Lalante looked like, but you just can't see... Now, it could simply be that it's inside, and that you literally can't see it. But for whatever reason, you cannot see it right now.
Well, then I guess I will, make mention to Rainbow Boy that we should probably find the ship first, in case that it's still here. Can you see it? Do you remember where it was pulled in? If we find that, then we may have a better option to get into the stronghold.
Let me see for a moment. I have a connection to... I know this will seem strange to you for a humanoid being to have a connection to a construct, but I do. I'm joking.
Bells kind of shakes his head and goes, no, trust me, that's not the weirdest thing I've seen.
Exactly.
Do you know about a house with legs, by any chance?
I don't believe Audrey made it on the last trip, so he's not familiar, but yes. He reaches out one hand and he concentrates, and then he says, I think it's in the wall? Like, not here, but around the side. I think they've actually incorporated the ship into the wall. It's trapped, and it doesn't like it.
Well, do you have a good fix on where that might be? We can... If it's in the wall, that might even be with your connection, might even be a very good way of getting in.
Yes, I know exactly where it is from here. I can feel it, literally.
Then let's go.
Okay. So he is going to need to make a stealth roll, move silently, but I will allow you to help him. So either you both can roll, and I'll take the average, or you can give him a bonus.
Let's go with the average. I've got a good feeling, especially since I've got a +2 to stealth with my new form.
Okay. Yes, you do have a +2 to stealth on top of your other ones. Plush doesn't make that much noise.
That's a 19 on the die with a move silently of 15. So that's a 30, 20, 34 +2, 36.
36. So, dividing those two, the average is 22. He didn't roll that well. But you did. And so y'all move silently, and you're kind of guiding him and suggesting little places to go that are more shadowed. And you make your way around the side of the complex. And he's right. At a 45-degree angle, they have literally just not well, like almost sloppily, built in the Lelante into this wall. Now, the Lelante is not small. Like, it's not huge, but it's not small. It's probably about 30 feet long.
It's a little spell jammer almost.
Yeah, exactly. About 30 feet long and, just a little wide. And it's partially damaged, but it is still mostly intact. And the weirdest thing is when you look, you can almost see, like, little woodland creatures kind of running in and out of it. You don't know what's up with that, but, again, like, this isn't the weirdest thing you've seen today.
Not really, no.
Yep.
Bell's kind of like, he kind of goes, don't put me down when we get on the boat, because I don't want to get bitten by anything.
Oh, they would
in this
never,
form, at least.
They would never bite you. Those are my friends. And Bubbles' friends.
I'll trust you. Our best bet would likely be... Is it kind of like in its normal orientation, or have they turned it over on its side, or... It is at
a 45-degree angle, so it literally is if you just laid it down flat and then raised up the front. And it has items stacked on top of it, and they are very clumsily, like, nailed and kind of welded. Like, you don't know if heat metal or something like that was used, but just very clumsily attached together.
Kind of, Bells will sort of... Our best bet would probably be to get below deck through the door or the hatch or wherever you get below deck into the Lelante. My guess is if the ship will likely be damaged from impact, and they would have put the damaged part inside the fortress. So if we get below decks, there will probably be a relatively easy entrance into the fortress. I'm guessing, I'm not 100% sure, but that would be my guess. He can confirm or deny, obviously, but yeah.
Well, I think that you are correct. I am the one who flies the Lelante, and I guide it with this helmet, which also augments my natural abilities. But in its damaged state, I cannot say for certain if I would be able to fly it immediately without making repairs.
Bells will say, okay, here's the plan I have in my head. You're free to disregard if necessary. I do have a way I can contact you through distance. My thinking is I go in this form and find your friend. You stay here, connect with the ship, and on my word, as I run back with your friend and get on board, you take off. You're going to need preparation, clearly, because the ship is injured, damaged, and you need to reconnect your own powers and take a rest, because you've been through a lot, and when we need to go, we need to go. So gather up all your strength, connect with the ship, make sure the ship understands that when you need to go, and it's going to hurt. But if I can contact you, I will let you know that I have found your friend and we are coming back. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
I probably have a better chance of finding her, both in this form and on my own.
I think that your plan is very, very good, and clearly you are very, very stealthy. But please do be careful. Listen, hold still. And he reaches forward and he touches your forehead, and it's weird. It feels weird because it like indents because you're a plushie. And
oh yeah, there's a giant meat wall coming at me.
yeah. And there's like a slight, and then you hear his voice in your head. And he says, we should be able to communicate like this for a limited time. We cannot speak long sentences, but short phrases of, say, 20 words or so.
Bells has never said a 20-word sentence in his life.
That's true.
That's just fine.
And he says, I will do what I can with the ship. And even as he touches the ship, you actually feel like a go through it, like a thrum of power. It you don't think it's something that's going out, but something is happening to the ship. And he looks down at you again, at your tiny form, literally, and says, "Good luck.
Have fun storming the castle."
Off we go. I will get below decks and make my way into the stronghold and see if I can hear at least. These Githyanki don't appear to be too worried about speaking in their native language. They seem to speak sometimes in common, or at least something that Bells can understand. So he's going to try and listen out for clues about where they may have taken them. If they've even taken them anyway, knowing these guys and how, or at least seeing these guys and thinking about where they are and, how everything came to be, they may not even be worried about imprisoning them. They may just, tie them to a wall somewhere in a barracks. Who knows? We'll find out. But he will head in, doing his usual stealth. But he is just a plush toy. So at any moment he can just kind of fall flat on his face in a corner somewhere. No one's really going to pay that much attention to a soft toy, are they? That's
Andy's coming.
Yeah, blub. You got a friend in me.
So you begin to make your way through the hallways, and you could hear different speaking, and suddenly you realize why, with everything going on, you hadn't really put two and two together. Is these Githyanki are speaking Undercommon, which you speak, do you not?
Yes, I understand it perfectly.
Yep, you understand it perfectly. They are speaking Undercommon. Whatever they spoke before was not Undercommon, and you couldn't understand it. But these are speaking Undercommon, and you make your way through these. Imagine there's like a series of really tightly packed rooms. A lot of them are just stuffed with random objects. There doesn't appear to be a lot of super value. You do see a couple of those silver swords. They are kind of like mildly locked up, but you doubt you could
actually... So much I can do about them now anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Tiny, so...
you do not think you could wield one right now, so unless this form is very different than you think.
As Bells kind of shuffles through, he kind of spots away, he's just like, so close yet so far. Oh well, moving on.
And you come to a door, and you sense that this door perhaps, leads a little more into an open area. You can, just from listening, this is part of your B&E experience. By listening to the door, you can tell that, like, the open area is beyond and not just another, like, storage room.
Bells will kind of look around for, like, something, like, heavy-ish, like something that, basically he wants to test out his form to find out how compressible it is. Okay. Because he has an idea that if it is compressible enough, he can get under doors.
So are you basically trying to, like, lightly squash yourself?
Yes, basically find something heavy enough that I can put my arm underneath and kind of lower it down and see how flat I can get. I am a plush toy, after all. They don't generally have skeletons.
You do not have a skeleton, even though this is magic. So that's why you're able to move and hold things and stuff. Yeah. But you do not. There is something inside you that is essentially like sand. It's more. You have the sense that it's more almost granular, almost like a. Like
filled with rice,
almost like pebbles at the beach, but it's not quite as hard as stone. So rice is kind of a nice analogy. It's not really any of those things. You don't want to find out what's inside you.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, but the truth is, you are compressible, but you are not you cannot compress yourself down to a quarter of an inch. But you can squash yourself down to about an inch thick.
Well, hopefully most of these doors are a little higher than that, but yeah, we'll check. Knowing that, I will check the bottom of the door and see if it is possible that I could squeeze through that door. If it's not open anyway.
I told you that this is all very hastily made, and certainly the doors were not, as my home builder father would say, plumb. They're janky, and so there are some slightly raised up areas if you want to go for it.
Let's go for it.
I would like you to give me either an acrobatics check, or if you think there's a more relevant skill, otherwise acrobatics.
Let's try. I think escape artist works for this.
No, actually, you are so right, because this is literally escaping through there, and it's wriggling out of a tight space. That's what I want to see, is whether or not you get stuck. So
yep,
that is escape artist.
I think this will work perfectly well. Oh, okay, I got a nat 20 plus 13, so 33.
So
I am through there, boys.
It is a shame that no one can see how you just squash yourself down.
I've got this image of I'm tentatively doing this, so I'm going through feet first, and then just kind of pulling my head through, and there's this of the plushie just kind of popping through the other end.
I'm imagining the beak just kind of folding to the side.
Yep.
As you make your way under.
Bells kind of shakes his head and adjusts his noobly nose and moves on.
Yep.
And kind of this form has benefits.
It does indeed. And you make your way through this little area, and you can see kind of a general courtyard ahead. And it's very well lit, because in the center of the courtyard is a blue circle. There are about 5 foot tall stone pillars set at regular intervals around it. And
this looks familiar.
This looks exactly like a tiny version of what happened to Zental Keep.
Yep. That's what I was thinking.
I don't need, there's no need to roll. I mean, you immediately, because it happened in your face as you were running from it. So you immediately recognize what this is. And if you were one of the other players, you would recognize the mouth of the Zorn that the children were going to be fed to so long ago at the beginning of Chafing Armor. But you see this, and standing near that disc, in elegant black robes, is a mind flayer. This mind flayer, normally kind of a bluish, has a greenish tinge to it, speckled with specks. It appears to have subsumed one of these Githyanki, and it is cackling. I would like you to make a spot check. You do need to roll well on this, just an FYI.
Spot check, you say? Alright. So that's a +8 to an 18, so that's a 26.
20. You needed a 25. That's what you needed. What you see is that he reaches forward and he presses onto his neck area, and there is a round object there, and just you only catch it for the briefest of moments, but as he closes it, you see that crude eye with the line drawn through it, which is the symbol of the Cancer Crone, the cult that hired you to kill Osokai, that later you captured their leader, at least their leader in Zental Keep, and forced him to come with you and reveal the name of their patron, Faluzare. And this Githyanki presses down, and nearby the Mind Flayer presses down, and one of the Githyanki nearby, their eyes glow just a little brighter, and without the slightest hesitation, they just walk right towards this disc, and vroom, they are gone. Their silver sword, their armor, everything is just gone. And the Mind Flayer, you just hear in your mind this, oh, that is delightful. What would you like to do? Oh, I apologize. You did really well on that spot check. The Githyanki here, it's not all of them, but it's like about a dozen of them are apparently just lined up to do this. At the middle of the line, bound and her mouth restrained, is the young woman that you saw from the projected image that Rainbow Boy had done of Bubbles. Her eyes are not a baleful blue, but she is being led towards the circle. What would you like to do?
Bells will immediately contact Rainbow Boy and say, I found her. We do not have a lot of time. Can you make the ship rock as a distraction? Give me 120 seconds and then do it. And then get ready to leave, because we are going to be running.
Very well. Very well. I can do that.
Right.
Please be careful.
I will. Bells will make his way towards Bubbles through his tiny stealth. I will give that a quick roll, and that is lovely. I just forgot what I had. It's a 35.
35. So I want you to describe to me, imagine this 18-inch tall plush Kinku, and there's this busy courtyard with soldiers going back and forth and everything, how you would sneak up to where you want to go.
Honestly, these Githyanki don't look like they are fully in control of themselves. They seem to be under the influence of this Mind Flayer. And this Mind Flayer certainly ain't going to be looking down anytime soon. He's wrapped up in his little circle, so he's just going to kind of make a beeline, ducking behind any large areas if necessary. But he kind of has this idea that, being how tall he is right now, he could probably he's just going to walk up to her, basically, or run up to her, and just kind of climb her leg to her shoulder and whisper in her ear, "We need to run now towards that door," and point. Don't question anything, just go.
And you make your way up, and how do you contact her? Like, do you tug on her leg, or what do you do? And by the way, as I said, she is bound. Her hands are bound in front of her with rope, and her mouth is gagged because she is a powerful spellcaster, and they're not going to let her do that.
Bells will just climb. He's like, it's gonna creep her out, but he doesn't really have much choice. We don't have a lot of time. He's going to climb. He's going to hold on as much as he can. I'll give it a quick climb check too. Ooh, I like that. That's a 23 for the climb. I have a 10 to climb. Yep. So it's going to disturb her, but he's going to go as quickly as he can to her shoulder and just lean in and go, see that door over there? Run. We don't have long, and Rainbow Boy is ready to go.
Okay.
Head back to the ship. You know where it is.
Okay, and she stiffens when you start to climb her, but she has incredible self-possession. Like you can tell this is a young woman of incredible fortitude, and that, like a lot of people would go, "Ah!" Like when suddenly a Chucky doll starts crawling up them, but she doesn't, and you tell her that, and she nods once to you, like you see like the look in her eye, like, okay, so this is happening.
While that's happening, I will immediately reach out to Rainbow Boy and go, now.
Okay, and you feel like his boom back from you, and you can't see this, but he is sitting at the helm. There is no thing to turn. There is simply
no wheel.
No wheel. Thank you. He simply sits in a chair, and he takes the helmet and he puts it on, and there is a and the Lelante begins to shake and shudder and crack free from the weldings and the nails near it, and like the little woodland creatures like quickly duck under deck, and then suddenly it jerks to the left and breaks free, and everyone there like stops what they're doing and turns and look, including that mind flayer. But they are all surprised.
I immediately whisper to say to Bubbles, now, go. Don't stop, run.
Okay. And she starts to run, and everyone, most of the Githyanki freeze because they do not know what to do. They don't know what's happening. And the Mind Flayer is going, what? And I need you to roll for initiative.
Beautiful. I don't plan to be here very long.
Yep, but it's gonna matter.
So,
in the last
as long as she can keep running, it doesn't matter. Ooh, okay. 18 plus 9. That's 27.
27. Your initiative serves you well because some other things rolled pretty good. Okay. So you do act first.
All right. This is pointless. It's not going to do a whole lot of damage because it's a plushie, but I just need her to keep running. So this is just a distraction. Shortbow time. Immediately hit the Mind Flayer. I'm going to try and hit him in the face just to make him go to distract him long enough that she can get out of this room.
Okay. What are you hitting him with?
Shortbow.
I'm sorry?
I have a short bow.
Oh, short bow. It just cut out for a second, and I heard Bilbo, and I was like, why are you throwing a hobbit at him? That's amazing.
I will say, one of my when poor Osokai died, one of my character concepts that I was thinking of was a half-orc barbarian who specialized in tossing halflings. That was going to be like he had a band of halflings that he would just have following him around who were totally okay with him just picking them up and throwing them. And I was like, I like it, but I don't think Michael was going to go for it.
it would be very difficult to pull off because, of course, all of those halflings would have their own will and exactly how this came out. But I'm always willing to discuss. But anyway,
it was. Yep. So I will make that quick attack.
Okay.
That's a 20. Holy shit! Thank you, dice.
Really, you rolled a 20.
Yes. Which makes it. That's a critical times 3 plus my attack bonus, making it a 31, all told, to attack.
Okay. So your dungeon master has different. So I had planned for something to happen right now. Okay? But the dice are the dice. And I had
The dice said no.
What's that?
The dice said no?
The dice said no, because I had a specific thing that would happen. I'm not kidding. If you rolled natural 20. So you turn and you fire your bow.
Little
and
plush arrow.
Well, but I said that metal is metal.
Well, yeah, it's got a metal head,
yeah.
but it's still got a plush...
Well, but it still fires like an arrow. You don't know if it's the magic, you don't know what, but it still fires like the arrow metal. Now, you have a -5 to both hit and to damage. However, you rolled a natural 20. Natural 20 negates negative rolls. Doesn't matter how low that negative is. All that matters is you rolled a natural 20, which means you hit. And even if you have a -5, all attacks do at least 1 point of damage. So I would like you to roll your damage for that plushy arrow.
Well, I got a 6, so with the -5, it's a 1. Multiplied by 3, that's 3 damage.
So, what is the thing the Dungeon Master said would happen if you rolled a natural 20 that he had in his little notes? Your little arrow goes fing through the air. You're aiming for his face. But he sees you, he sees the thing, and he glances back. He jerks back, and his little tentacles are writhing everywhere. And that arrow, fing, goes through the strap to that necklace. And the necklace falls to the ground, and he goes, "No!" And you hear it in your mind, and it shakes your mind. And as the necklace falls to the ground, that baleful blue glow fades from the eyes of all of the Githyanki.
At this point, bells are still just going, don't stop.
No, go. We don't know what's going on here. And what Distant Bells cannot possibly know, because he doesn't even know who the Githyanki are, is that they spent centuries enslaved by the Mind Flayers.
Oh, this boy's coming up for his comeuppance. He's just found himself in a room full of them.
He suddenly finds himself in a room, in a courtyard, surrounded by Githyanki soldiers with silver swords.
Ooh.
And you see him trying to dimension door away, or I forget which is the psychic version of that, but he's trying to go away, but nope, that was a 15, which with their bonus will hit. The first sword just bites into his flesh, and there is no hesitation. They don't know where they are. They don't know what's going on. They don't know why they're suddenly here. All they know is there's a Mind Flayer there, and the Mind Flayer must die. And they fall upon the Mind Flayer. Now, I had something very different that was going to happen right now that was very important to the plot. But it doesn't matter, because that's how D&D works. So you make your way to the Lolante with Bubbles, with Rainbow Boy rising out of the wreckage. And
as we're running, I'd like it not lying that Bells will be climbing down to dispense with her bindings.
Okay.
He is small enough to climb down to her hands and just kind of start cutting through her bindings, because she's going to need her hands free.
You still have those that are unaffected, and as soon as you do, her hands come up and whoom, and you see a like a shield form around the Lolante of protection. And she begins casting a series of spells, and you know that Penton is really powerful, but you're like, oh crap, this lady is no joke. she begins augmenting the speed of the Lolante. It begins moving faster to rise up over this artificial gravity that should not be here in the astral plane. She then fires down just cause a few bolts of lightning that strike the form of the mind flayer, even though he is currently being just eviscerated by these Githyanki as they slice through him with their silver swords. And you make your way off, and as soon as you get high enough, suddenly it is like all of the gravity just whink, turns off. And you begin to kind of slowly float around a little bit, but you don't leave. You don't leave the Lolante. There's some force keeping those on the Lolante on it unless they wish to leave. And Bubbles turns to you and says, "You are a very curious creature, but I like you. It's very nice to meet you. My name is Bubbles."
The sound of distant bells appears, echoes through the local area, I guess.
And she looks up at Rainbow Boy, who is concentrating very, very hard and powering the ship and making it fly, even though it is still somewhat damaged. And she goes, "Oh, Distant Bells, what a lovely name. Have you all? I assume you two have met." And Rainbow Boy is nodding, but he's it's like sweat coming down his eyes as he concentrates, and he's making this injured ship fly at nearly full speed. And
Bells will quickly update her on basically what just kind of happened in the last few hours. While she's casually slinging spells around, probably because that's just how they do.
Yep.
But yeah, and just kind of explain. He's not actually supposed to look like this. It just kind of happened, but it came in handy. We just kind of arranged a rescue off the cuff. It was thanks to him, honestly. And kind of inclines his head to the struggling Rainbow Boy.
Oh, well, I am so glad that you were able to rescue me, and I am so very thankful. And I really appreciate you not immediately returning to your home, as I'm sure you could have at any time.
Bells shakes his head. Have no idea.
Oh, well, the power to return home was with you all along. All you have to do is click your heels. No, I'm just kidding. That's from another story. This cloak that you wear, the Cloak of Stars, has the ability to transport you from the astral plane to the material plane at will. All you have to do is visualize where you want to return to, and it will take you back. Now, it will take you to the general area where you once were, but there's a little wiggle room there. So if you want to concentrate, then that will take you back. And it's this adorable little Cloak of Stars with adorable little metal stars on it.
Bells kind of, I mean, I can't really go back like this.
Oh, well...
I was 5 foot... Hang on, check. I was 5'2", not 18 inches. Like, it's a good size for some things, but not for others, if you know what I mean.
Oh, well, and she asks Rainbow Boy, and he fills her in on exactly what happened, and she goes, "Oh my, you've come under the ensorcelment of a Thane. They are nearly gods. They are so very powerful. I can't believe you are still alive." And Rainbow Boy says, "It was so strange. He said that he was soul locked." He says, "Oh, well, I think that you should be able to reverse that, but you will need to break the soul lock. Do you know how you are soul locked?"
This is the first Bells has even heard of the concept.
Yeah, you've never heard of anything like that before. And she begins casting a spell and weaving it and she... And immediately that shackle that has been with you since since you were such a small child begins to glow. And she goes, "Oh, what is this?"
Bells kind of looks at it. And does it hurt? Does it is there any
No,
feeling from it?
nothing.
It's just glowing under the quote unquote felt skin, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Bells would kind of go, my family was enslaved to a wizard. He put that on all of us. I've had it since I was a fledgling.
Well, you are going to have to find something that will cut through this shackle. It is the only way you can regain your natural form. But I cannot do it here.
Natural form?
Yes. You are adorable, but you are a toy right now, and this will return you to your
Bells
true form.
Bells suddenly shakes his head and goes, "Oh yeah, that's right." he kind of during the conversation just kind of forgot.
Yeah.
The way I've imagined it in my head is that even though he can see his form, it still looks like him. So it's not taking into his brain that it's not what it's supposed to look like. It just is. If that makes sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't really sunk in that his body actually isn't supposed to be made of felt, because to him, it's just what he looks like now. Yeah, so yeah, he's like, oh, right, yes, the whole flesh thing, right.
I cannot help you, but there are many magical things in the material plane. I would return there, and I would seek for something that can cut through magical bindings, and that would likely free you.
But it's in me.
I am sorry. It must be cut, or you will remain this way forever.
Bell's just he looks really dejected, which is incredibly adorable as a plush toy.
Just so dang
clearly
cute.
he would like to cry, but he can't. Yeah, it's just like, well, I mean, maybe Penton will know something.
Perhaps
How
so.
I'm going to explain this, I don't know. Do they react to my mentioning Penton at all?
If you say Penton, they brighten up and begin excitingly chatter and
Yeah, he'll have said it kind of half under his breath. It's like, oh well, maybe Penton knows something.
Yes, we know Penton. He visited us. He was very, very helpful, very kind, very sweet. Speak to Penton. He may know something that could help you. Just concentrate on Penton, and you will no doubt find what you need.
Bells also goes, oh no. How do I explain this to Tix?
Oh, he is somewhat mischievous. I think it's from that god that he follows. I don't know what he might do.
Bells just kind of shakes his head and is just like, well, he might have terrible stomach cramps if he keeps this up. If he says anything, he'll have some stomach cramps after dinner. I will promise you that. Yeah, and it's just like, so if I kind of looks and says, if I concentrate on my party members with this cloak, will the cloak take me to them?
Yes.
In a general area?
I would concentrate on Penton and let it take you to him. I think that he is the one who is most likely to be able to help you.
Bells nods and just kind of brushes himself off and kind of rearranges things, and it's just like, it was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for everything. I hope everything returns to normal very soon. I will let them know that we have met.
Oh, I appreciate it, and I wish you the best on your journey and the cessation of your curse.
Well, I will admit it has come in handy with your rescue, so
Now, then perhaps
it's
it was
not all
meant to
bad.
perhaps it was meant to be. But not
And then he would just
permanently.
Well, fingers crossed. And he will just start to concentrate and start picturing Penton
Okay.
as best he can, and being, his mind being perfect recollection.
So
It's a perfect recollection of Penton.
I want you to imagine. You remember there was an elder in Kalimvor who had a kinku in her employ. You met with them. She was very kind, and the kinku said that they were treated well. And you suddenly appear inside that elder's stronghold. Or I say stronghold, keep. And Penton is there, having just returned from teleporting himself and Taka out of certain doom. And he had returned to this place only to find a plush animal pop right in front of him. And that's where we'll end Chafing Armor episode 145. Thank you so much for playing.
Thank you very much for this. This is this is going to take some explaining.
It's going to take some explaining. I want the listeners to know that these two episodes, the one with Penton and the one with Lee, the ending that I had with Penton, I did not intend them to coincide so perfectly. I was going to have a silly thing that would temporarily explain it, but in Penton's episode, a small kinku plushed animal appeared in front of him. I can't make that up.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, I was expecting something very different to happen at the end, but that's what I love about D&D, because a natural 20 changes everything. And so
does a natural 1.
So does a natural 1, as Osokai found out. Thank you so much for playing, Lee.
Thank you very much.
Make sure,
It was a lot of fun.
if y'all want to chat with me or anyone else, feel free to go to chafingarmor, either .com or on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can connect with me directly with Michael or Lee. Give them your Twitter handle.
You can find me on Twitter at Mercurial Jester. That's MERCURIALJESTR. And you can also find my podcast, Peeves and Qs, on Twitter at Peeves Qs Pod. And check that out if you would be so kind. It's been a lot of fun. It's been an educational, entertaining, and we hope you enjoy it.
Yes, and the link for Peeves and Qs along with his Twitter handle will be in the show notes. So check that out. And until we get everybody back together in the next episode, good night, Lee.
Good night.
And good day, I should say. And we will roll with you soon.